Welcome to the Newstrength Way, a podcast made for empowering people to become their strongest selves through movement, education, and connection.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Newstrength Way podcast. Today we're going to be covering tips on getting stronger. So simply how you can put more weight on the bar and be lifting weights with the big boys or big girls, depending on who you are. So to give a little bit of background, this has been, for Nathan and myself, basically our sole pursuit of the last few years, at the very least, and something we've been very proud of. Not only have we been able to achieve results in that, but also be able to bring that to other people with what we do here at Newstrength. So we've not only tested a lot of these things on ourselves, but made sure that it's not only that we're genetic freaks, or which is far from the truth, but all these things that we have not only done with ourselves, we've tested out multiple times with people to find what actually works for not just the freakish guy in the gym that's lifting huge weights, but your everyday person, from young guys looking to gain strength for sports up to people looking to just build strength so they can maintain it through as they get older and keep healthy. So
yeah, definitely.
A lot of the stuff that we're going to cover has a lot of application for basically whoever you might be. So yeah, Nathan, do you want to give us basically what's it look like for somebody to get stronger? What does it require?
Definitely time under load. That's about as general as I can put it. You're going to have to spend a pretty significant amount of time under a barbell or whatever your sport requires to get stronger, but a barbell generally is the most efficient way to load increments and get stronger. Barbells and dumbbells, and yeah, just time spent under that and the way you go about that and the way you use different weights, and that's going to be a deeper conversation for today. But to put it simple, you're going to have to spend time under external loading, and then the body will adapt and get stronger.
I think a really good summary for that I took from a guy named Chris Moore, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago now, but I remember he was talking about that he was at this seminar, and this guy was asking him, like, should I do Smolov, which for you guys that haven't heard of, Smolov, it's like a 4-week Russian strength cycle made from for a freakish athlete that was doing freakishly strong weights, and at the time was pretty popular within CrossFit circles to do this program because it was notable that you could get results pretty quickly off the back end of that. Should I do Smolov or should I do West Side or 531 or whatever? And Chris basically gave him the answer of, dude, what if you just put a bar on your back once a week for the next year? At least once a week for the next year. He's like, I guarantee that you'll be stronger. And then he extended that out. He's like, you want to get seriously strong? Do it for the next 10 years. And if you see those guys that are at the peak of, or the pinnacle of strength, your Hafthors, your Andrei Milanichevs, those sorts of dudes, that's what they've been doing. There's not too much pretty stuff to it. It's just been time, a lot of time underneath the bar and putting in the work. So that's definitely one thing for sure. There's obviously plenty of different ways that we can program how to develop strength, but what's sort of a requisite within that you would look towards with most clients, Nate?
So first things first, you got to get clear on where you're at as an individual. I think what can build strength, or what the best application or the best way to apply different training principles is very much determined from where you're at in your journey. So depending on where someone comes to us in their, say, fitness or strength journey, will determine how we program for them moving forward. But in a nutshell, depending, like, as a generalization, you're going to be looking at doing loads. So things where you can move a significant amount of weight, like a barbell back squat, is going to encourage you to build more strength than a single arm overhead kettlebell squat or something like that. The reason being is that you can load the barbell squat more efficiently and you can transfer more force into that. Maybe the overhead kettlebell squat or whatever it is has its place, but it's not for building maximal strength. So you need to pick your main lifts that you're going to pursue and try and get stronger at. Get good at them lifts. Like, there's no point putting a lot of force through an inefficient pattern. Getting your patterns efficient and then putting multiple sets and reps through that pattern over time is always going to get you stronger.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a key thing that you said there, as well as making sure that you have good technique.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where personally I went wrong in my squats a while ago now. But I don't think I was squatting as efficiently as I could have been for my makeup.
Yeah.
I think that cost me quite significantly. About 2 years of putting, it wasn't terrible, it just wasn't nowhere near as good as it could be.
Yeah.
And I think, especially over the last few years, that's more what's I can contribute squatting more weight to, is just actually doing quality reps at significant enough loads.
Yeah, for sure.
And not sacrificing quality for loading, and vice versa.
And I think that's one of the things that you see often, like we've got that we have the luxury with occasionally, is that we turn around and somebody comes in, they've started training with us, they've been training quite hard in the past, but they haven't had much attention to what is the best technique for them to deadlift in, the best technique for them to squat in, to bench press in, and with those little tweaks we were able to make big jumps in their potential and strength in quite a short time. Like looking at like a guy that we've got, Byron, is a good example of that. He's a strong human, but in the last 3 months has been able to basically add 30-40 kilos to an already heavy back squat, purely from just finding the right pattern and applying the right progressive principles to his strength training. And then all of a sudden he goes and squats 220 kilos.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that he actually looked like it got out of position anyway at all.
Yeah, definitely. I think another good example of that's Nick, that just started up with us not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like he's been with us for 3 or 4 weeks now, and you can build strength in that time, except his main progressions come from just loading himself more efficiently.
Yeah.
Where he can get to the point where he, like the other night, was tripling and doubling his old 1 rep max with still reps in the tank. And that's purely from a positional standpoint and trying to maximize his levers and what he can do for himself there. So positioning's definitely a big one, and having someone look at that externally, or even filming it on your phone or whatever it may be. I think external eyes are always a little bit better because they can be a little bit more critical and pick things up that you're missing.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a major point, is movement efficiency, and really what you're trying to do, everyone's going to look a little bit different in how they do that, but it's trying to maximize your leverages and your mechanics to try and produce as much force as possible into the barbell in whatever movement that is.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that sums that one up. Next, Jake, what would you say, with those things considered, what would your next thing be? Say if we're going to give 3 major tips for today, let's talk about, obviously there has to be some kind of external loading. We won't even count that as a tip because that's a no-brainer. So one we touched on there was movement efficiency.
Yeah.
So once someone has that dialed in, what would they next be looking at if they wanted to optimize everything?
Yeah, I guess like obviously progressive overload of training is probably the biggest thing. Like obviously that's where barbells come into it, as we use quite a few tools here, but the barbell you can simply add 2.5 kilos each week, versus like if you're using dead balls or sandbags or some of the other toys that we have for that, even though it's still going to build strength and can be better for, in some cases, transferability of strength to other things, you can't quite load those and just add a little bit. Like if you go from one dead ball, you got to go to the next dead ball, and if there's a 10 kilo jump there, sometimes that can be quite significant, or too significant of a jump in a given time. So that's where the barbell comes in, and I think this is one of the things that I took from Louis Simmons, and is really simplistically, is you've got essentially 3 ways of programming to get stronger. It's like maximal effort of some form, like the heaviest weight that you can handle for a given set or reps. You've got a repeated effort or repetition effort, where you're going to do a lot of reps at around, generally like in a hypertrophy stimulus, or repeated sets at a certain percentage, where it's going to become challenging, more of a volume overload in that case there. Mm-hmm. And then last one, there's probably a little bit of conjecture there, is the dynamic effort. Some people would put that in as it being also just a repetition effort, just not at as high of a level of fatigue. I
think something that gets overlooked with that dynamic effort is just skill work too. Like at a lighter load,
it's refining
like
technique.
Yeah, exactly. It's like refining the skill and going through there. I think you can almost even put it really simply, where you just need to create an environment where your body thinks it's a very good idea to get strong. That's really all those things said are doing. You're providing the environment where your body goes, okay, we have everything we need to get strong, so let's get strong. Take pieces of that away, like nutrition, loading,
Yeah.
movement efficiency, then if you're missing those key pieces, then you're not going to get, you definitely can get stronger, and a lot of people do. It's just that ceiling is going to sit a lot lower for people that are neglecting one or some of all those three things.
And the speed of it too, like everyone wants fast results in the gym, like nobody, until you've been in the game for a while, you're not really, if I told somebody, it's like, hey, let's just try to get 5 kilos on your max in the next year. Most people are like, well, I want to get 30.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting fast results, you kind of have to act like it.
You have to act like you want to be strong. Is that what you said?
Something like that. Let's roll with that.
Let's roll with that. That can be the title of this. You have to act like you want to be strong. And I think that definitely sums it up. We could almost roll into a whole nother podcast from here, but we don't have time because I have clients in about 5 minutes. But if you're not acting like you want to be strong, you're not going to get strong. It's pretty much as simple as that. And how you act and what those actions look like under a bar, positioning's good and loading's good, nutrition is adequate for trying to get stronger. Do those 3 things and you will get stronger.
Cool, guys. Thanks for listening. If you are looking for a little bit of guidance on like what does a good program look like to help you get strong, we do have a free download available on our website. Melt, which is a program that not only the original one Nath created a few years ago and has been very reliable in producing very good results for a lot of people, and then we've ran modified programs of this 2 or 3 times in the gym now.
Yeah, if you count since we've been training people, probably 4.
Yeah.
3 in here.
So we've
5 overall.
We've modified this program many times, and it's still come up with trumps of consistent results every single time we run it. So if you're interested in that, newstrength.com.au, straight on the homepage, you'll be able to download that one for free and get stuck straight into that. It's 10 weeks.
Yep.
And 10 weeks to hit PRs.
I think it's 8 actually.
8.
It's a ridiculously short amount of time, but it works.
Anyhow.
It works.